Vice President Becky Franco, who unfortunately can't be with us today. Our scribe, Ashley Moore, Treasurer, Naila Johnson, and Public Relations Officer, Lily Galvin. Our Vice President normally would have read this next speech off, but since she's not here, the part will be read by Abby Gray. She will now read the history of the National Honor Society.
The National Association of Secondary School Principals officially established NHS in 1921. Though many local and regional honor societies existed prior to 1921, no nationwide organization had been founded. Under the leadership of Dr. Edward Reinierson, principal of the Fifth Avenue High School in Pittsburgh, the organization grew from the original Alpha chapter at the Fifth Avenue School to more than 1,000 chapters by 1930. Equipped with a constitution, an emblem, and motto, a group of dedicated principals as coordinators, the new NHS organization quickly developed into one of the country's leading educational groups. Four main purposes have guided chapters of NHS from the beginning: to create enthusiasm for scholarships, to stimulate a desire to render service, to promote leadership, and to develop character in the students of secondary schools. These purposes also translate into the criteria used for membership selection in each local chapter.
Our Treasurer, Naila Johnson, will now read the criteria for the selection to the National Honor Society.
The NSH chapter establishes rules for membership that are based upon a student's outstanding performance in the areas of scholarship, service, leadership, and character. These four criteria for selection form the foundation upon which the organization and its activities are built. Scholarship. Students must have a cumulative grade point average of at least 3.3 to meet the scholarship requirement of membership. The students are then eligible for consideration on the basis of service, leadership, and character. Service. This quality is defined through the voluntary contributions made by a student to the school or community, done without compensation and with a positive, courteous, and enthusiastic spirit. Leadership. Student leaders are those who are resourceful, good problem solvers, promoters of school activities, idea contributors, dependable, and persons who exemplify positive attitudes about life. Leadership experiences can be drawn from school or community activities while working with or for others. Character. The student of a good character upholds the principles of morality and ethics. It is cooperative, demonstrates high standards of honesty and reliability, shows courtesy, concern, and respect for others, and generally maintains a good and clean lifestyle.
36 candidates have been selected for induction to the National Honor Society this year. Membership in the home-built chapter of the National Honor Society has been earned by the effective demonstration of four qualities, which are all based first on knowledge. The following members will light the candles and review the significance of the qualities. Delaney Dorsey will read knowledge, Savannah Buckley will read scholarship, Maya Beckman will read service, Lily Galvin will read leadership, and Juliet Larslier will read character. We will first hear Delaney as she lights the candle of knowledge.
The candle of knowledge. The flame of knowledge is the key to an enlightened individual. Our individual success and achievement depends upon the use and application of knowledge. Our contribution to our school and community is dependent on how we use our acquired knowledge. Our form of representative government depends upon an informed and educated public. The candle of knowledge represents the flames of learning and accomplishment, which ignites the flame of scholarship, service, leadership, and character. Knowledge is one great element in life which leads to the highest success, and it can be acquired in only one way, through diligence and effort. Learning furnishes the lamp by which we read the past, and lights which illuminates the opportunities inherent in scholarship.
The candle of scholarship. Scholarship means a commitment to learning. A student is willing to spend hours in reading and studying, knowing the lasting benefits of a cultivated mind. We should continue to learn even when formal education has ended, for education ends only with the end of life. The candle of service. My candle represents service. Service can be described in various ways. In the routine of a day's work, many opportunities arise to help others. Willingness to work for the benefit of those in need without monetary compensation, of without recognition, is the quality we seek in our membership. We are committed to the idea of volunteering our time and abilities to the creation of a better tomorrow.
The candle of leadership. Leadership should exert a wholesome influence on the school. In taking the initiative in class and school activities, the real leader strives to train and aid others to obtain the same objective. The price of leadership is sacrifice, one's willingness to yield their own personal interests for the interest of others. A leader has self-confidence and will go forward when others hesitate. No matter what power and resources may exist in a country, they are ineffectual without the guidance of a wise leader. Therefore, thus, we charge each of our members and all of the new candidates to become effective and responsible leaders.
Character is a force within each individual which distinguishes that person from others. It gives each one individuality. It is that quality without which no one can respect oneself nor hope to attain the respect of others. It is this force of character which guides one through life, and when once developed, grows steadily. Character is achieved and not received. It is a product of constant action and striving to make the right choice daily. The problem of character is the problem of self-control. We must be in reality what we wish to appear to others. By demonstrating such qualities as reliability, trustworthiness, fairness, caring, citizenship, honesty, and sincerity, we hope to prove by example that we value good character.
Will the candidates now rise and repeat the National Honor Society pledge? I pledge myself to uphold the high purposes of the National Honor Society. To which I have been selected. I will be true to the principles for which it stands. I will be loyal to my school. Will maintain and encourage my standards of scholarship, service, leadership, and character. You may now be seated. Our principal, Matt Poultry, will now officially welcome you to the National Honor Society.
First of all, I just want to say thank you all, family and friends and loved ones that have been able to come tonight to celebrate this. And I do want to welcome you all. This is an awesome opportunity. You know, although the induction tonight is very much scripted, as it is every year, what's not scripted every year is when these kids come into these hallways and they make the choices that they make and they begin down this journey in school. And as we talk about scholarship, service, leadership, and character, these kids have demonstrated all of those things at a high level, and that's why they're being recognized tonight. So the awesome thing about National Honor Society is we get that moment in time to recognize those individuals that have taken these things seriously and done it at a higher level. and for that they should be recognized. You have pledged yourselves to maintain the high purpose of the National Honor Society. I congratulate you. It marks the recognition of work well done this far. May it bring you and others that inspiration to go forward to greater achievements in the future. Please come forward as your name is called, receive your membership certificate and pin, and sign your name in the Homedale Chapter Registry Book. Thank you.
John Shears. Thomas Sims. Ainsley Evans. Brooklyn Post. Emma Floyd. Macy Klein. And Alicia Kaydince. Robert Salazar. Xiomara Gomez. Mackenzie Miller. Savannah Turner. Kaydince Turner. Christina Tracy. Lisbeth Almo. Giovanni Aguilera. Madison Miller. Dawson Fox. Kylie Bauer. Kenna McKay. Emma Parker. Bella Smith. McKenna DeWitt. Christina Alroy. Tommy Muir. Emily Conan. Caitlin Payton. Alvaro Miller. Caitlin Missamon. Gracie Rodder. Nacho Martinez. Joseph Megasprida. Andres Alroy. Abigail Nelson. Charlie Ford. Weston Dorsey. Francisco Jimenez. is my sincere pleasure this evening to introduce Ms. Sally Gonzer. She is a phenomenal educator, and I didn't get down how many years now? 27 years. She's been teaching in our honors programs, and she's provided hundreds of students with phenomenal insights into how to write and how to work and how to, definitely how to work. Would you guys agree? And insights into literature as well. So it's my pleasure to introduce Mrs. Sally Gonzer.
Good evening. I don't usually use one of these because I'm really loud. But if you can't hear me, everybody hear me? When Mrs. Fleming came into the chaos that is my room last week and asked me if I would speak to you all tonight, I must admit I was kind of hesitant to take this on. Not because it only gave me about a week to write a speech, but because I wasn't sure I had enough to say, or that you would want to listen to it if I did. This may be the last time I'm asked to speak at one of these ceremonies, but I have some thoughts about these students. I first taught most of these inductees as seventh grade English students. The year before, I had gotten the bright idea that since we didn't have reading classes at the middle school, I should include these important skills. And to do that, my classes need to be 90 minutes long. So these poor young men and women got to sit in my 7th grade English class for 2 consecutive periods daily, all year. Having endured that, I must admit I was honestly amazed last summer to see so many of them had signed up for my dual credit English 101 class as juniors. All of my memories of this group aren't as pleasant as you might think. One thing I noticed almost immediately when working with these students' class as 7th graders was that many of the students who should have been leaders were curiously quiet and seemed reluctant to stand in the spotlight. It became clear as the year progressed that a few influential bullies seemed to have made it decidedly uncool to draw attention to oneself, especially in academics. I remember one of these influencers bragged to me the first day of school that he was responsible for 3 6th grade teachers retiring the year before. You probably remember that, some of you in that class. I assured this young man not to worry, that I wasn't going anywhere. However, as the year progressed, I often found myself with few, if any, responses to my questions, and a class that often seemed afraid to take risks. I also noticed, as a group, they weren't always very kind to one another. In my classroom, these are liabilities. I love this group one-on-one, but their group dynamic seemed a little dysfunctional as 7th graders. I spent that whole year trying to get them to trust me and each other with mixed results. We managed to get through the year, but I must admit that this was the year I started to consider what I now laughingly refer to as my retirement. I did not blame the students. I simply felt as if I had failed this group in significant ways. So they went on to 8th grade, and I was hopeful that they would flourish with their new teachers. Imagine my surprise when about, 3 months into the next year, a group of these now 8th graders came asking me for help with their sponsor for National Junior Honor Society. My suggestion was to evaluate why they were having a problem with this sponsor, or this teacher, and then write her a letter. They did. They wrote her a letter and kind of worked it out. Unfortunately, this lady left mid-year, so they were left with no one to sponsor them in Honor Society, Junior Honor Society. So the same group of students came back and asked me to take on their club. Now, I had stepped down from this position the prior late year, all part of my greater retirement plan. I wasn't exactly excited at this prospect. Honestly, I doubted that most of these students would even want me to inflict my views about character, leadership, scholarship, knowledge, and service on upon them after spending so many hours the previous year with me trying to demonstrate these ideas by expecting them to challenge themselves for an hour and a half every day. After some thought, I said I would be their NJHS advisor if they all signed contracts stating their dedication and willingness to do this work, and that if I agreed to take this on, they would have to take the lead in planning meetings, running projects, and do a minimum of 30 hours of service before the end of the year. I thought maybe they'd, say no, we don't want to do that. Happily, they accepted my challenge. It ended up being one of the best years of Honor Society in which I have ever participated. And I was sad but proud to see them leave that next spring for high school. Fast forward to this year. Most of these students are in my English 101 class, dual credit class. And although I know that mine is not the class that everyone loves, I have been pleased to see how far these young men and women have come in the 4 years since they were in my middle school class. Perhaps because of the liabilities I noticed then, I am impressed by the way they have met the expectations of our difficult college freshman class. Not only the workload, 30 minutes, homework most nights, 7 days a week, but also the way they have tackled reading complex college-level literature and writing long, research-driven MLA persuasive essays, with few, if any, complaints. You all may have heard grumbling, but thankfully I haven't. A few weeks ago, most of them signed up to participate as tutors to help underclassmen who are struggling in some of their classes, which shows that many of them have also been working on their character and service along with their scholarship. This group has demonstrated all the foundational criteria of the National Honor Society in my class on a daily basis. So I have no doubt they will represent our school and this national organization well in the coming year. For me, the thing that stands out most about this group of students, when it comes to their potential as National Honor Society members, especially looking back on them as 7th graders, is their growth and continuing potential for leadership. Although leaders were at a premium 4 years ago, this year I have noticed that many of them have taken huge strides in this area as high school students. When I ask students to respond, hands go up, and the answers are usually thoughtful and well explained. When asked to defend their thinking, they are willing to stand and deliver. When I write all over their rough drafts, most of them are not only willing to fix my marks, but they attempt to internalize the revision skills to use on their own in the future. These are behaviors I expect from my honors students, but for this group, the growth I have seen in the area of leadership is truly amazing. I have lots of posters and other visual aids on the walls of my room, my rationale being that even if students aren't listening, they might remember something they read on the wall. One of my favorite posters says simply, "Work hard and be kind." I suppose I'm expected to give you all some advice going forward to your senior year and beyond. This is my advice. I wish you the best of luck and congratulations on your induction into the National Honor Society.
Now we will have a musical selection from Gage Purdy.